right. Thank you, man. I appreciate that for all that you do. Well, listen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what part of the world you guys are chiming in from. Just in case we haven't met yet, my name is Greg, and I want to welcome all the newest members to our Saturday locker room meeting. For those of you that are a little bit newer, this is where we come together, every single Saturday, and we come together as a global community, more like a family, if you will. We talk about a whole bunch of different things, you guys, and we talk about business. We talk about leadership. We talk about systemization. We try to increase people's financial literacy. But more importantly, we like to talk about how our particular project fits into the macro scheme globally of what's going on around the world. And we like to say we are the tip of the spear in terms of what's happening worldwide. And so I want to give a warm, warm welcome to all the newest members. And I also like to warn you guys that we're very, very passionate about what it is that we do. And I say this every Saturday when I'm doing the locker room. We have other leaders that conduct it as well. Because of our passion, because we're so sincere about what it is that we're doing, sometimes we may say something that may rub you the wrong way. And when that happens, please charge it to our head and not our hearts. All right. We're not here to offend anyone. We just know that this isn't your first rodeo in the people-to-people space. We want this to be your last one, though, because this thing is on the cutting edge. I'm talking about we are literally the tip of the spear of what's happening around the world. And my job today is to help you guys understand that even more so, okay? But before I dive into it real quickly, I want to make sure that all the members understand that you want to have your camera on just for at least a little while here so that we can keep the integrity of the call, because sometimes we have trolls that come on here to disrupt what it is that we're doing. So please do that, because if you don't, what's going to happen is you may be put into the waiting room or something like that, or be dismissed from it. So don't take it personally. We just want to maintain integrity, okay? So we'll give you guys an opportunity to do that. And we're going to go ahead and dive right into this thing real quick. Let me change my view here. I want to start by letting you guys know, I want to thank all the members that knew about my wife and her situation. I want to thank you for all the prayers, all the positive energy that you guys, that we were able to receive. I just want you guys to give you guys an update that she did have the double mastectomy surgery on Thursday. It was very, very successful. Okay, so she's on the mend right now. And so I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. She appreciates it as well. And you guys will be meeting her real soon. So it was an adventure, to say the least, but we're on the other side of it now. And so now she's on the mend. So thank you so much for that. It means a lot to us. Truly, that we're really a community and sincere family. So thank you so much for that. So let's go ahead and dive right into it today, you guys. And last week, we talked about some things last week, relative to mindset and hitting your goals and not getting on the emotional roller coaster, right? And I see a lot of people that may not have been around for some time, and it's so good to see you come back. And a lot of times what we find out is that people tend to get on, identify with the emotional roller coasters, if you will, in the business. And we talked about how don't identify with the emotional roller coasters of the people that say yes, then no, and all the things that we deal with when building a business. That's just par for the course of being an entrepreneur. And the way in which you get off of that roller coaster ride is through consistent action, okay, number one, and then controlling your environment. That's the people that you hang around, the music that you listen to, the kind of conversations that you have. You really have to understand that wherever your attention goes, energy flows. So you only want to put your attention on the standard of your life that you want to lead. And this is not woo-woo stuff. I didn't create the rules, okay? These are things that myself and other leaders, we just learned over time through trial and error, scraping our knees, having major failures, then successes, and all the above. So what we're here to do is just to help you, for those of you that are new to the space of being an entrepreneur. It takes a totally different mindset in order to make it happen, okay? So we also talked about how to pique interest, because sometimes people say, well, what do you say, Greg? I don't know what to say. This is a warm market business, okay? So some of you are in the cold market because you say you're part of the NFL, no friends left because you've tried other things and dragged them into those other things, and maybe you didn't have any success. So even if you're in the cold market, you have to help people go from being a cold market person to becoming a warm market person. And so we talked about being in the shipping and receiving business last week, where you have to develop a relationship with people in the online space at a cold market. And once you develop a relationship, they become a friend, right? And then when they become a friend, then you can ask them to go into business with you, to become a partner, okay? And then you go into leadershiping. So we talked about that as well. The peaking of interest, keep it very, very simple, okay? Especially those of you who are new. Don't talk people in and out of the business. Don't think that you have to do a presentation. The purpose of piquing interest is to pique interest and to invite them to a presentation. So the peak simply is you call somebody up in your warm market and from your heart and be excited with urgency and let them know, I want to go into business with you, right? I want to go into business with you. The typical response is going to be, oh yeah, well, what kind of business, right? How about owning our own bank, right? That's step number 2. The typical response to that is typically going to be, well, is it legal? How do you do that? Great question. I'm having a strategic partnership meeting on whatever date and time that you've scheduled. Going to answer all those questions. Can I count on you to be there? Do not entertain their questions because they're going to try to draw from you as much information because what they're looking for and listening for is, have I done this before? Because anytime it comes to talking to people, the moment that they hear that you have to talk to people, they think they know what it is, and it just dismisses their opportunity, and we don't want to do that, right? So that's what we talked about last week. Towards the end, I was talking about how we live in the most abundant age in human history. I want to elaborate on that, and we're going to go into increasing our belief because a lot of you are new to blockchain, okay? And I'm not going to go deep into the technicalities of blockchain, but what I do want to do is to help you guys understand from the bottom of my heart, despite everything that's going on post-COVID and everything, there is no greater time in human history to create wealth. We are right now living in the most abundant time in human history. And a lot of you may be saying, well, Greg, it don't feel that way to me. I'm going to help you guys understand why I say that. I mean, think about years ago. Last week, I talked about the rotary dial phones and everything. I was basically dating myself. But think back in the day when there were 8-track tapes, right? And then because of technology, it evolved into cassette tapes. And then it went from that into CDs and DVDs. And then it evolved into streaming and things of that nature, right? So I think a lot of you would agree that the age in which we live in right now, people are living longer, is way better than it was maybe 200 years ago. How many of you would agree with that? Show of hands if you would agree with that right now, okay? I mean, 400 years ago, you had to wake up and you had to be a hunter and a gatherer at that moment in time. You had to think about what you were going to eat, all right, because you only ate what you killed. But now we have the luxury of going to a store. We have fresh meat packaged and everything like that. So, I mean, there's no better time to live than right now. So why am I saying that? Blockchain, you guys, were able to do something that was unimaginable prior to 2009. Because in 2009, that's when Bitcoin came about after the 2008 financial debacle. A lot of us that are old enough, we can remember what that was like. But Bitcoin is on the blockchain. And even though we're in a cooperative ecosystem, I'd like to say that as a global community, what we're really ushering in is the prosumer age. And what do I mean about the prosumer age? I mean this. A prosumer is the combination of a consumer and a producer. A consumer is just simply someone that spends money. That's all they do is they spend money, spend money. A producer makes money. But a prosumer makes money as they spend money. That's where you and I are. We get the opportunity because of blockchain technology to become a prosumer, and it's here today, and I'm going to help you guys understand what I mean by that here, right? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to break some stuff down for you guys to the best of my ability to help you guys understand. Do not waver from what it is that we're doing, okay? We're connecting wallets, okay? But here's what I want to start off with, and I'm not looking to get into being religious or anything like that because we have people of different faiths as a part of our community, and that's the beautiful thing about it. But as you guys can see here in Romans, okay, this is a verse in the Bible that says, owe no one anything. This is where interest comes in, except to love one another, for he who loves another has fulfilled the law. That's all that we're here to do, is to love and respect each other. But the key thing is, owe no one anything. All right? This is what I want you guys to understand here. Let me move myself out of the way. You guys can see the screen here, okay? Here's what I want you guys to understand. And I've covered this before, but it's apropos right now. Meyer Rothschild, many of you are familiar with the Rothschilds. They're the fathers of banking, said, let me issue and control a nation's money, and I care not who writes the laws. If you guys don't realize how true that is, then I got to ask, have you been sleeping under a rock? As much as we think the president and politics is what's running the show, no, it's the money creators. It's the people behind the strings that really create the agenda, and everybody else is just puppets, right? But the puppet master is anyone that controls a nation's money. And as they stated here so boldly, I can care not who writes the laws because they dictate that. So one of the things that you guys need to understand, and I'm going to help you understand why blockchain is so powerful and why we're ushering in the prosumer age. Central banks have traditionally controlled and dominated the sourcing of needed capital in the form of supplying interest-bearing loans to everyone and keeping the profit. So it becomes their monthly recurring revenue, their cash flow, if you will, right? But the key word is interest-bearing. This is where we are set up to owe people. This is usury in a sense, okay? Whereby what ends up happening is they're able to take our deposits and loan it out at interest and keep the lion's share of the cash flow. Until now, all right? Now, this is what you guys need to look at. Centralized banking, if this is the centralized banking, everyone comes to them for money, right? So everyone has to come to them in order to get capital, and they are selling money at interest, keeping us on the hamster wheel, constantly paying interest, okay? What we're doing is decentralized, okay? So when you look at the centralized environment, and please stay with me here, this is critically important. The interest rates, it's not equitable. And let me help you guys understand when I say it's not equitable. When you put your money into a bank as a deposit, right, it no longer is your money because the bank now has custody of it. And they sell you on the idea that they're going to pay you interest on your money if you deposit it in that bank. I'm going to break down why it's not equitable, right? So now they're able to take your money and through something called fractional reserve lending, they're able to go ahead and loan out 10 times, essentially creating money out of thin air at interest, which is typically higher than the interest that they're going to pay you for simply depositing your money. That's why it's not equitable. So the interest that they pay you, it doesn't even keep up with the rate of inflation, but the money that they're able to make off the interest that they receive from the money that you had deposited is astronomical. That's why banks are so wealthy. It's not equitable, right? So you're now a consumer. So what we're doing, team, is because of blockchain, okay, this is critically important. Blockchain decentralized this. It's able to bust up the monopoly. And what we're doing is we're building our own network. We have a Mobius loop infrastructure. So we're going from something being non-equitable to revenue sharing. Now, this is critically important to understand. Revenue sharing is way more powerful than profit sharing. So let me help you understand what I mean. There's a lot of companies out here that are generating a lot of revenue and they're cooking the books. And long before they decide to pay you any of their profit, revenue sharing simply means that any money that's coming in, you're getting a piece of it. So you're sharing in the success, but you're also sharing in the risk as well. So revenue sharing puts you from the bottom line, which is profit share, or the end of the line, to the front of the line, the top of the line, revenue sharing. So if you're taking notes, please write that down. Revenue sharing is more valuable than profit sharing, right? Because a company has to be profitable before they even give you your portion. Revenue sharing, you're getting your portion based on all the revenue that's coming in. Okay? That's what you want. So we're building our network. Now, that's just phase one of what it is that we're doing. Phase two is we're our own informal financial organization. We have our own closed loop ecosystem. So now that we're going to be able to own our own closed loop ecosystem team, now we're going to be able to attract merchants, which is going to allow us to scale our monthly recurring revenue and our cash flow, helping our members worldwide create even more wealth. All right. So you look at companies like PayPal or Cash App, and I know we have people from other parts of the world, whatever version of PayPal and Cash App that you have, because they were able to attract so many people into their ecosystem, merchants came knocking on their door because they want a piece of the action, offering discounts for basically being in their ecosystem. We're going to be able to do the exact same thing. So we're going to create a closed loop distribution network that allows all of our members to basically share in the revenue and the ownership of the ecosystem. That wasn't possible prior to blockchain coming about in 2009 because of Bitcoin. This is what I want you guys to understand. There has never been the opportunity for the average everyday person to be their own bank. Make sense? So what blockchain has done, and all blockchain is, it is nothing more than a distributed ledger technology. It's not owned by any government. It's immutable. It can't be hacked. It can't be manipulated or anything like that. So it's removed any need for middlemen, empowering us, all right, to control the sourcing and distribution of needed money for our members worldwide without the need of repayment. Once again, remember Romans, all right? Owe no man. And we're talking just for $28 a month. So blockchain right now, team, it's creating the greatest transference of wealth in human history. And we have way too many people. They're caught up in trying to basically, find the next big meme coin and all that kind of stuff. All right. And so this is not about the meme coin. What we're about, team, is we are about digital real estate. That's the name of our game. Digital real estate. Now, do I invest personally in Bitcoin? Absolutely. There's money on the table there. Makes sense? But what we have is even more valuable than Bitcoin, and that's the ownership of the digital real estate right now. And please hear me very closely. Companies, individuals, small startups are jockeying for position in the new frontier, which is the virtual metaverse. And blockchain is the earth. It's the dirt in which this civilization is going to be built. You need to understand when we say tip of the spear, we mean that literally. So please don't get distracted by politics, Tyson, Paul, all of these different things out here that's keeping your attention away from you creating monster massive wealth for you and your family for many generations to come. All right. So blockchain is allowing that to happen, and it's happening right now. Okay. So when we talk about prosumerism, okay, what we're able to do is be both. So banks are lenders, right? And typically prior to blockchain coming in, we were just borrowers. So we were owing them interest, okay? But because of blockchain, it's ushering in what we're now calling the prosumer age, like never before. And it allows us to become revenue sharing owners. I hope that I'm doing a good enough job to help you guys understand the value of what you have your hands on so that you don't allow your emotions to knock you out of the greatest transference of wealth in human history. You guys need to understand Bitcoin, yes, has created so many millionaires, but blockchain in general is creating more millionaires than any time in history. And you and I were a part of it, literally. So you got to get your game face on. You got to pin your ears back. You got to show some grit. You got to be obsessive about this space, okay? And understand that we're pros and we're both the lender and the borrower at the exact same time, all right? This is critically important to understand, team. So Once again, don't look for money, become money. Because we're not just merely bystanders of the economy of money any longer, but a pivotal force. Why? Because of blockchain, not because of cryptocurrency. There would be no cryptocurrency without the innovation of blockchain technology. Once again, that's the soil. You and I, we're playing in the soil. We're building up our digital real estate. So every wallet that gets opened up, you want to look at it like it's real estate. And as your network expands, every wallet that opens up, they're paying you your rental income. So that $28 a month gets broken up, and 10 rental owners in the digital real estate space are receiving monthly recurring revenue. And what makes this even better is the barrier of entry than traditional real estate is the barrier of entry is so low. I mean, come on, what are we talking about? $100 to get in, right? Try to get a duplex now, right? In order to get in that game, it's going to cost you way more than that. You got to put 20,000 down and all these different kind of things. Make sense? And so we're able to replicate a lot faster than you would if you just want to get involved in physical real estate and play Monopoly. That's a slower burn. Make sense, everybody? So blockchain, please understand, is creating this opportunity for you, your friends, your family, your coworkers to become a prosumer, meaning you become a revenue sharing owner in the new frontier. So if people just stand up, or let's say rise up, the game is literally over, team. And that's what we're doing as a global community. What we do is so simple. The peaking of interest, finding those that are interested, putting them in front of the information in a simplistic way. All right. We can't really talk about the depths of blockchain and all that on an overview because we'll blow people out of the water. Okay. But what we want to do, though, is help them understand that they get in our environment, as they get in our environment and plug into new members orientation and they plug into locker room and things of that nature, that they begin to understand the value of what we have our hands on and not to get emotional if some people say yes or no, whatever the case may be. I can promise you, if people understand this, it's impossible not to do it.